In other news, I have almost reached 1,000 subscribers, so thank you all for your open ears through the years and loyal support of the channel. Every single minute that you watch is appreciated deeply. Are you uncomfy? Awesome, now that those dweebs are gone, what actually is magic? Is it sawing a woman in half without causing harm? Kiki. This is my cat, Kiki. Where were we? Perhaps it's the sigils you write in your own blood. For some, maybe magic is just to visualize a useful sort of energy within their body to heal whatever ailments they may have, or magic may be held within words. Is a prayer magic? What's the difference between a prayer and a spell, if they both seem to be recited and practiced the same way? But maybe magic is the unshakable presence just beyond view, like a friend beside you, or the knowing that you cannot possibly know, rising from the tips of your toes to the top of your skull. Maybe magic is only a way to the one, a path to unison with the all. To be mind of mind. Is mentality greater than time? A great many definitions of this practice exist, and a great many paths to it do as well. It's a really tangled highway, and a lot of people are entrenched in a bit of a shallow traffic jam, right near visualization point. But what about the feelualization? You got to feel it! You know, if you have 40 people in a room, all thinking about the same number, and a random number generator, otherwise known as an RNG, the numbers will tend to fall closer to that number everybody's thinking about than if nobody's in the room thinking about that number. But the actual percentage of times it lands on that number will remain consistent. The magic is only visible once you plot the dots. Chaos! The inherent nature of the universe as it approaches maximal complexity. The human brain makes so many fine little tiny mistakes. As a matter of fact, most of our entire perception of reality is fill-in-the-blank hallucination. They're not mistakes though, she says with semantic conviction about these terms. I think you're missing the point pretty hard. I wouldn't have it any other way. As a matter of fact, we really need those little screw-ups, otherwise we wouldn't reproduce. With what other computer could we live so close to chaos without touching it? The number! The number. It's a number. What if instead of that, you had everybody on the planet thinking about the same fucking apocalypse that they've all been thinking about for 1,000 years? What if you got all the news anchors to fucking feed into this fantasy and get everyone to think about it even harder, how this apocalypse is gonna happen? It's a bit uncreative, don't you think? But it never hits that number quite. As above, so below. The world is only as evil as you allow yourself to become within it. Here, the internet is a treasure trove of valuable information. Isn't it just fucking awful, exhausting, disgusting? It was valuable to someone at some point, and now it's being projectile vomited at all of your sensory organs all the time. With what substance do you feed your mind? And what did you even get from the experience?
A 2-hour hypnagogic trance devoid of any meaning or human connection, made up of 30-second video clips that could be arranged into any combination of words and filled with targeted ads from multi-billion-dollar media companies.
Yuck! Yuck, verily. In fact, stop acting like your parasocial relationships actually matter. I love all of you, and I do appreciate every single minute of watch time, but the camera, it only goes one way. I don't know any of you, and you cannot possibly know any other version of me than the one that I'm performing right now. You think I actually scream all the time? You think I'm screaming random words in the middle of sentences and glitch out? You don't know me. My point is, we make the YouTube shorts, we make them out of necessity. Y'all are not gonna watch this long video. I'm gonna have to chop it up to beat hell. That's why we make the shorts. You're not losing people when you get off the YouTube shorts. I will make this long form content. You don't have to watch the shorts. I make that because if I didn't, my channel would die. It's bad for you. Of course I want you to keep watching my videos. I do want that, and I'm actually trying to inform you of stuff in them. Please subscribe. But the truth of the matter is, you can't get any work done in the mental when your monkey brain is cracked out on 600 sound bites all playing How can you direct chaos when within you is just more chaos? Where do you place the contrast lines? Maybe you don't. Maybe there just aren't any. That is to say, each individual neuron in your brain is highly probabilistic and chaotic, just as the RNG and just as the neural net. So perhaps potential itself is actually a field, much like space. A unified field affected by and affecting all the others in unity. And just like how space can be bent by mass to produce gravity, potentials can be manipulated or directed by highly chaotic systems. My hypothesis is that somewhere between order and chaos is consciousness itself, the observer of the multitude, and magic therefore. The all-seeing eye. Where we place our time and our attention, the eye sees. Like the RNG, we live close enough to chaos to skew its vision in our likeness. As above, so below. The all is mind. A good rule with spells is actually to set it and forget it, because a good ritual is going to glue the intention and the spell itself to your subconscious, and it will continue to be fed by your shadow. That's how spells are typically perpetuated. A lot of the time you'll also pull energy from an energy pool, but we'll get into that, a thought form.
Let them who seek continue seeking until they find. When they find, they will become trouble. And when they become trouble, they will be astonished, and they will rule over the all.
If you're wondering where all these random quotes are coming from, it's mostly the Kabbalion and the Gospel of Thomas. Gods, angels, deities, demons, they all resemble pools in the fact that we have given them our attention for so long that they now have the energy to skew chaos in their likeness. But which pools have the most water? Which pools do you have the most pre-installed data for? Which have power? The answer is yes! There is no need to tie yourself down to one path. All truths are but half-truths. No one tradition is complete, even Hermeticism. And a great many pools await your discerning disposal. I myself prefer to work with the deities from Adventure Time, primarily Prismo, Cosmic Owl, and Golb. And I think Golb is actually the boss if we're going into like the actual universe of Adventure Time. I think that when they refer to the boss, they're talking about Golb. Now, I use this mythology because I am deeply familiar with all the deities in Adventure Time, and I actually feel that I have an emotional connection to them because I grew up watching it. And the secondary reason is that I'm not the only one that grew up watching it, nor am I the only one familiar with the Pantheon in Adventure Time. So these thought forms, they're still getting fed daily. They're still getting thought about, talked about. They're still considered in culture, and that means their pool of energy that they have is still being filled up. It's still active. So that makes them particularly powerful as thought forms. Well, at least for people that are actually emotionally connected to Adventure Time in some way. But as I said earlier, you got to feel it, okay? If you don't know anything about Adventure Time, those gods aren't going to do jack shit for you. And it's not like a thing like you have to deserve it. If you don't feel it in your heart, if you're not connected to Prismo, Golb, Cosmic Owl, whoever, Thoth, Thor, I don't care. If you're not connected, then you're not connected. You're not in that pool. You don't have the water, fam. So naturally, choose the mythology you can actually connect with. Choose the one that feels right to you. Your brain, this thing up here, that is the chaotic system I was talking about. This thing is the thing that skews chaos because it's half chaos. By applying your senses to your practice, your rituals, your prayers, your spells, your hand signs, anything, by applying the feeling, you can dedicate more of this chaotic system up here toward your actual goal. So it's like using more of your brain power, essentially. It's like the thing with Einstein, except we don't actually just use 10% of our brain. That is a myth. I don't support fake science on this channel. If you're just visualizing your body filling with energy from the ground rising up, that might work. You might have some kind of benefit from that. But when you can feel it in your legs, when you feel it rising up and you can feel it coming in through each finger, and you can hear the sound of the energy whirring and charging inside of your body, and you can feel it on your skin. But not only that, but when you can sense the vibe, like the code, the program of the energy that you're working with, and you can simulate its 3D equivalent in your mind, like a shape. When you can connect your mind on every level to a goal or a deity or a spell or a prayer in that way, you're applying much more psychic energy toward it. You're applying much more of your brain toward it. And so generally, rituals done that way are going to be far more effective. Feelulize everything. Feelulize. Don't just visualize. You have to feelulize everything when you're doing magic, and that's going to help a lot. This is the dirty part of the video. The universe will reflect the brightest image you project. Okay, so let's be clear about this. And I'm clarifying earlier when I said the world is only as evil as you allow yourself to become within it. Here's what I mean. I'm not telling you that each thought you have is either positively or negatively affecting your life. I'm not blaming you for the bad thing you've gone through. I'm not pretending that you invited the house robber or the... As I said, the inherent nature of the universe is chaos. Many things are random. Everything is random. Random is that thing people call holy, that they want to ascribe order to everything for, and prophecy. It's randomness. It came from randomness. I'm not blaming you for any of that stuff that happened to you. And that's the problem with the law of attraction. Don't be fooled into thinking that every thought you have has the power to destabilize and destroy your life, because that type of thinking is just a way to keep you stressed, feeling unworthy, and feeling evil. Because if you're responsible for these things, then what are you other than evil? What other interpretation is possible? Seriously, think about this line of thought before you allow these idiots on the universe, before you allow these idiots on the YouTube fucking perpetuate this go into nonsense. Like, the law of attraction is dumb. That is not your doing. Okay, I've gone off script. I'm on a rant. God forbid you have OCD, because that thinking will destroy you from the inside out. Like, you cannot get every thought perfect. You cannot get every action perfect. And in the end, actually, that type of law of attraction thinking allows people to identify with their thoughts to a degree which is not healthy. And if that was the case, how would anyone ever plan for the worst case scenario? Do you actually believe that it's intelligent to go into any situation not accounting for the worst thing that could happen in that situation? Like, do you believe it's smart to fight a bear and focus on the law of attraction? I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win. No, you're gonna get killed. There's reality. There's actual reality. Okay, I'm done yelling, my bad. The truth is, you don't need to identify with every cloud passing by, every facade your mind creates. It's passing by in your immediate patch of sky, but when you move, the thoughts won't be there. The thoughts will pass by, even if you stay. They are temporary. You are not your thoughts. You are you. What are you? You're an illusion, but we won't get into that now. Thoughts are impermanent, and they're often not even related to us. Rather, you should understand that magic, what they want to call it, the law of attraction, magic, it requires intention, it requires focus, and it requires a lot of it. It's not, you're not going to accidentally manifest the worst thing in your life because you had a weird thought on the bus that one day, and you don't need to feel guilty about it. So my most blunt, venomous note I can give you is that the law of attraction is horse shit, and many of the people pushing it are narcissistic assholes who want you to feel bad about having thoughts. Yet others call it the law of reflection, and they still teach you these harmful ideas herein. The essential idea that everything is your fault. Ignore these fancy snake oil salesmen on YouTube, because that's not how magic works. That's bullshit. And that is not to say that manifestation is not real. In fact, manifestation can be thought of as the base mechanism of magic itself. To use your mind to bring something into your life that would have not otherwise been there. The rituals in magic are designed to leverage your mind to a greater extent, okay? And that's because we do have to consider things like worst case scenario and what ifs and stuff. And if every thought we had affected chaos in that drastic sort of way, no one would ever be able to do anything. So please disillusion yourself of that ridiculous, guilt-inducing thought. The people teaching this think very shallowly for themselves about the consequences of such beliefs. In all honesty, most of them remind me of college girls that took a single art course and now they think they're fucking Van Gogh. Which brings me to my truest and most helpful note I can give you about magic. Take your ego, right the fuck out of it. It's not gonna work. If talking about magic to your friends, if talking about ritual or witchcraft to your friends is making your self-image bubbly and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm a witch, I'm a wizard, blah, blah, blah. Even if you're trying to resist it, that's when you know that you need to stop talking about magic, stop talking about witchcraft, stop talking about spells, stop talking to people about all of it. Keep it to yourself. Magic is meant to be an inner, sacred practice. It's not an outward display of aesthetic virtues. If you want someone to talk about real magic with outside of the aesthetic, ego-driven sense, then find yourself a coven that shares your mythology and shares your beliefs about magic, or at least some of them. And work very hard on not allowing ego to become the center of your group, because there's a lot of these public covens and shit that you see online where all of these people are doing is harboring a self-image. They're just harboring a self-image and editing it on the daily, and it's nothing. It's not spiritual. It's just aesthetics. I'm not saying this out of virtue. I'm not saying, oh, you all are just selfish ego and you blah, 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 blah. No. It's when you allow your ego, that the very small frontal lobe driven portion of your mind, when you allow that to become the primary focus of magic, and basically when you associate magic into your self-image that's behind that frontal lobe part of your brain, that's a very shallow and small state of mind. That's not a state of mind that you can easily focus, because it will always be focused on itself. That is not a state of mind that carries power. It is a state of mind which will actively disable your ability to perform any meaningful sort of magic. So when I tell you to take your ego out of it, I'm telling you that for the sake of you being able to do it in the first place. Not for the sake of, I think there's too many selfish people, I do. But that's not why I'm saying this. I'm not saying this out of virtue. Because we need a self-image to function. If you don't have a self-image, you don't know who you are. You don't know what your values are. You don't know who your friends are. You don't know who you can trust. You don't remember what you've experienced in the past, and how can you learn from it? You need your self-image. You need your ego. But your ego and self-image are also highly consumptive. They will try to consume whatever information you want to add to your mind. And so with magic especially, that's something that you have to guard against. And if anyone is wondering, I actually made a video about this exact same thing when I was about 13 years old. And the video is called Shut Up. And the point is, Stop talking about spirituality. Stop talking about magic. Don't talk about it anymore. Because when you talk about it, you ruin it. You're actively killing it. You're actively disabling it. You are harming your own practice by doing that. When it stays inside of your mind, those thoughts that are ineffable in real words can remain ineffable. They can remain complex. They can change in a way that's even more ineffable. Because when you F it up. So what's your thoughts on magic? What tradition do you follow? What gods do you like? Or, if you don't want to talk about that, in case you actually watch the video, tell me what your favorite type of bread is in the comments down below. So my favorite type of bread has to be focaccia, but then it's rye right after that, and it's like a real struggle between focaccia and rye for first place. But focaccia goes way better with more sandwiches, and rye, I pretty much just like to put jam and butter on rye. That's pretty much it. So yeah, focaccia and rye are definitely my favorite types of bread. Let me know your favorite type of bread in the comments below. Please, and please leave a like and subscribe. Please. Thank you. Goodbye.